Let's make a tower for your clay castle. So you'll want to start with quite a bit of clay first, and I like to just pound it between my hands until it's about like half an inch thick into about the shape of a rectangle before I even start rolling it out. Now, make sure you flip it pretty often. That way you're not getting cracks on the other side, and you can fix any areas that you need to. Like right here, I can see it starting to crack right there. That might happen if your clay has dried out a little bit. If that happens a lot, just go ahead and add a lot more water. And your goal is you want it to be as tall as a toilet paper tube. By the way, if you ever get a bubble like that, just take a needle tool and poke it out and smooth it over. Sometimes you get those when you're rolling slabs. And this does need to be fairly long so that it can wrap all the way around your cardboard tube. All right, and I think mine is just about there. So once you think it's the right width, you can use that slab stick as a straight edge and then cut where you need it. Now, if yours is about an inch longer than the cardboard tube, that's okay. We just don't want them to be too tall to where they don't fit in our boxes at the end of class. Go ahead and cut the excess off so that you're left with a rectangle. And it just needs to be long enough so that if you wrap it around the TP tube, it will go all the way around. And then I'm just cutting out some squares or rectangles for the top so it looks like the castle walls where the archers would hide behind those stones after they've shot arrows. At this stage, you may want to add a window. It's a little bit easier to do it now than to wait and do it later. All right, so I'm going to wrap that up, but I've got a little bit of extra that I don't need. We do want it to overlap a little bit, but not a ton, so I'm going to cut that off and then use some scoring and slip. You really want to be rough with this. If you don't see those scratch marks, you are not pressing hard enough with the toothbrush. Add a lot of water, and then you can use your fingers to smooth out the seam so that you don't see it anymore. Sometimes you may have to brace your fingers inside of the cardboard tube so it doesn't cave in while you are doing this. Use a little bit of water on your finger if you need to, if the clay has been cracking. Now at the top, I don't like how that looks, so I'm going to fix that right now just so it looks a little bit more even all the way around. And that's just one way to build your castle tower. I'm actually going to show you a second way right now that looks a little bit more like this. So instead of cutting out those rectangles before I wrapped it around the tube, I kept it straight and then I rolled another slab that was really short with those rectangles on the top cut out. And then I'm going to slip and score this around the top edge so it almost looks like a crown around the top, and then just smooth out that seam so it looks a little bit more like this. That's another option if you want to try it that way. At this stage, you may be tempted to smooth everything out and make it perfect right now, but I would actually wait until the very, very end before you do that. Plus, if you leave some edges a little bit jagged, it almost helps it look a little bit more like an old castle. You know, stones have cracks in them. Some of your castles may look like they're crumbling. That's okay. Now what you see me doing here, I saved those little square pieces that I cut up off of the top of the castle, And so I am scoring the sides of them, and I already scored the side of the tower to attach those so it looks more like stonework, like bricks or cobblestones. You'll want to add some pieces on. Have a good mixture of pieces that you've added on and pieces that you have scratched in. So I'm going to now also use a wooden skewer to draw in a few more rectangles or stones. And also, if you forgot to add a window earlier, you can still cut it out right now. It's just much harder to dig out the inside of the window, but you can do that, it's possible. All right, and then the last thing that I'll show you for the tower is how to make a door. So if you do an upside down L shape, you can make it look like your door is just open like that. It's kind of on its hinge. Um, Another way is to almost cut it completely out and then have it down kind of like a drawbridge or a gate that has been down like that.